Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the OCR pilot training. So, this episode I've titled Content or Revenge of the Content, just to have a little bit of fun. So, anyway, let's just talk today a little bit about content and what content means. Content is the front facing portion of your class. And so, I've kind of drawn a little bit of a diagram here, but you're probably not going to be able to see it. So, just what I want you to know is it's kind of like the storefront. So if you'll think about, there are all these different places that content exists. There's pages, there's discussion boards, there's assignments, quizzes, activities, right? They all exist somewhere else, but they're organized into content in this front-facing, organized, logical view that basically that's the design of the course. So that's what students see. And so that is what content is. It is not usually where things actually live, they're just where things appear for students. That's the way we want students to go through the course. So let's just talk about a couple of things here today. So we want you to be aware that when you go through content as a pilot instructor, you should be looking for a couple things. First of all, look at your open dates. Are these open dates? You can see them here. Begins January 8th, begins January 15th. Are those open dates appropriate? If they're not, you want to make sure you're submitting fixes for any of these things. On any of your activities, you can see when they start and when they end. So we'll go into due dates a lot later, but I'll just give you a quick update. On quizzes, when students can't take it before the start date and they can't take it after the end date. Those are hard dates that you can't extend. You can't extend them through special access. So we will give you special access, or you will be able to give special access. So anyway, look at those due dates. Look at how that flows. That is the overall view of content. You want to make sure that this order is right. We also want to look at the names to see if these names are right. One really interesting thing that I want to point out is the gradebook exists separate from these activities. And so if I was to show you, this is a pathway class, so you'll see that the pathway kind of website looks a little bit different, but everything's still the same here. If I go to this quiz, I can see that it's called L07.09. But if I come down here, I can see what the assessment or the grade item looks like. And it says L07.10. And so for a lot of people, that's just really confusing. So it's nice to know you can submit a change for those things so that things match up as best they can. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, so on content as well, any of these names can be changed. So if you want to submit any name changes, submit name changes. But I also want you to be aware of something that we call release conditions. So these due dates, they're a form of, these release dates, they're a form of release conditions. But on these modules that we have here at the top, so I'm on the instructor resources module, so anything on the left is a module. When I come into this module, I can click on here to see that all these conditions must be met. So the only people that can see this module are those that are enrolled as a teaching assistant and those that are enrolled as instructor online. And those can even be changed, but you don't want to change those yourself. You want to make sure that if there's anything incorrect there, you change it you submit a fix so that gets changed in the master course. The reason why this is important, I had an experience the other day where a student was going through the course like this. I'll show you. So when a student goes into content, they can click on these forward arrows, and the forward arrows are designed to take them all the way through the module or submodule, whatever they're at. And then when they get to the end, so we'll just kind of advance through here and get to the end, it automatically pops me out to the next module so that I know that I finished that module and I'm ready to move on to the next. Now, a really interesting experience that we had the other day is a student was in the last open module. All these other modules were closed, but there was this resources module at the bottom. And these resources have lots of pages, but one of them was a link page that was at the top. And for some reason, when students got to the end of module 3 and they clicked the next button, it automatically opened this page or a page like this. And it really confused students. So you want to just be aware, listen to students' complaints on things like that, and if you see anything along those lines, make sure you submit a fix for those. Release conditions are important. They're great things for you to be aware of, the dates of release as well as what students can and can't see. An instructor resources folder, for example, you only want the instructor to see, not all students. Release conditions can be added onto modules, so those are all modules. I'll see if this one has any. It doesn't look like this lesson or course has any submodules. If there was a submodule, you'd see another box out here that would be submodules. But you can have release conditions on pages as well as modules at that, and that all works. Let's see, other things that we wanted to talk about in this episode. You just want to be aware of the student experience as well as the teacher experience. Make sure that the flow works well for both parties involved. Let's see. You want to make sure that your release dates are right on all these releases, and we kind of talked about that. And I think that's mostly it. So give me your thoughts and feedback on that. See if that helps you for some things that you should be looking for as a pilot instructor. Don't be afraid to click into some of these things to really examine all the stuff at the bottom. So there's start and end dates here. There's the assessment. All of this information is really important. This activity details and automatically required. This is set up so that when students go through the page, you can make it so they have to manually check it off, or will it automatically check it off? And so that really comes back into play when I come back over here. You'll see all these check boxes. So as students go through this, either it will automatically check it off as they visit, or students can manually check those off. And that comes into play as well when we get to user progress. So as we go through user progress, we can see exactly what content items a student has gone through. And so that we can see if the student is doing or completing pages, what they're looking at, how much time they're spending in content, all of those things. So that's where it's really nice to have those check boxes. It gives the students a way to see where they're at, and it also gives an instructor a way to kind of check on a student's progress. So all of that has to do with content. That's how they're all tied together. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode of content. If you have other questions about content, please shoot them my way, and I will do what I can to answer them. Hope you guys have a great day.